On January 8, 2020, just over a month ago, many of us woke to the news that
چی میگن کلو؟
نمیدونم بگو
میگن خواهش میکنم منو نکشی.
خب
نمیکشیشون؟
مامان جون سلام، نمیدونم اینو بتونیم بخونین یا نه. من رفتم سوار بشم. خیالتون راحت.
Flight PS-752 from Tehran had crashed. There were no survivors. There were 176 people on board, all of whom tragically lost their lives. These are people with families, people with lives, goals, dreams, all of which were unfairly stripped from them in an instant. It's been over a month since that incident, and I haven't found the words to adequately describe just what we've lost. And I wonder if those words exist at all.
For my career, I'm hoping to really link elements of innovation, continued learning with my practice as a clinician. That's what we're hoping that everyone within STEM fellowship and ultimately the education system hopefully will feel, and that sense of fulfillment within their area of work.
That's quite the goal there. Aspirational.
We just want to change the world. It's no I want to add on to the impact that Let's Talk Science has made. I only spent a year of my high school in Canada, and that 1 year I participated in multiple programs that were co-organized by Let's Talk Science. And it was from that time that I remembered the logo. And it was associated for me with programs like Stem Cell Talks and a couple of other programs that my sister also participated in. And within our organization, we see it within our network. The inspiration from Let's Talk Science, because it's all about trying to make that local change within one's own institution and network. And I think that's what our organizations really want to share with policymakers and people in industry too. That's what we should be striving for.
I'd like to talk about Mohammed Lari. We've seen his picture earlier today. He had been at UBC and he was at U of T. He was studying in a PhD, MD program here. And he was the co-founder of STEM Fellowship and a group called the Canadian Association of Physician Innovators and Entrepreneurs. As you can tell, he was pretty smart, and he was also so energetic and entrepreneurial and committed. And he thought we should be doing a better job at turning our ideas into companies. And he was so committed to that. And I know that because I met him not too long ago, maybe 200 meters from here, and he cornered me and he said, "Minister, the government has to do more about this, and I need to meet with you and talk to you about it." He was such a brilliant young man and such a terrific Canadian. And he was traveling with his sister, Zainab, who was also at the U of T and doing an honors Bachelor of Science.
I'm one of the privileged, I think many, who actually knew her and knew of her engagement on campus as a student leader, as a volunteer, as someone who motivated others, someone with a warm spirit, and someone who was really smart and motivating too.
And I know that there's students here who miss her incredibly, and I know that we won't forget the things that were important to her, such as supporting others and advocating for global health and decreasing stigma of mental health.
Empowerment. What does it mean to be empowered? Do we also think about what leads there? And this is, I think, where we start approaching things in the wrong way sometimes, because we think that empowerment is about that moment of success. I think it's about those moments of failure. I thought I had to start big, but I realized that I have to start small.
In honor of an exceptional young man who made a lasting impression on science, innovation, and healthcare in Canada. Mohammed Lari is being recognized for his leadership, initiative, and commitment to making a difference, not only at the University of British Columbia, but through the national organizations he helped create.
Empowered youth, in that broad definition that we should all approach empowerment in youth with. They think global because they see the interconnected nature of everything. And that's what I was seeing with STEM Fellowship. The issue was passion for science and how we're approaching education. But you act local. It starts with your community. It starts with volunteering at a hospital. It starts seeing the issues on the ground, taking action locally, in your family even, or it can be an online community as STEM Fellowship is. Then it starts to grow.
And I could see how much a young man of conviction and action he was. His passion for change making, for youth engagement, for peace building, especially given the situation currently, the geopolitics in the world and the situation with your very own country. So peace building was so important to him. Inclusive science, education, equitable and just global health. And UNESCO is about human solidarity and intellectual cooperation, collaboration. And this is exactly how he would behave all the time.
He was the one who was able to come across and speak well to Canadian Commission for UNESCO and explain to them. He was the one to reach out to the New York Academy of Sciences. He was so he was able to not only take this idea, but actually show this idea by himself. So he was the one who an embodiment of this new type of thought.
Even though he was so knowledgeable, he never made people feel like they didn't know anything, and he valued the perspectives of people. So you always left knowing that you were respected and that you had a friend and that there was somebody you can turn to call to if you ever were facing a challenge or if you wanted to collaborate to create something in community. He was so smart in many different ways, mashallah, and he used all of his knowledge to give back to the community. We were creating Canada's first national youth policy, so we had to consult youth all over the country, and the federal government was having trouble reaching Black youth, Indigenous youth, youth from lower socioeconomic status, and Mohammed was actually organizing free online discussions and events with youth over the country, so he's reaching hundreds of youth that the government couldn't reach to.
I believe Mohammed not only demonstrates the qualities one would expect of a caring clinician, but also the sort of drive that's seen in those who really want to make a positive impact on society. I think that his commitment to public health is a huge asset as he ventures on into medicine. There is rarely a day that I don't think of him or think about how much we must honor what he began. And he will have a legacy of millions of students who will be able to thank him for having brought him into a path of becoming a health scientist.
Zainab was optimistic. She always had a smile. You would never see her without a smile. And she always did things together, like with people. She never did things alone. If she was learning, she would round up 4 or 5 girls, let's go study together. If she was creating something in the community, she would round up people and say, let's do this together. And Zainab cared deeply about mental health. So she was rounding up a lot of the professors and the students and creating a space for science learning.
Mohammed and Zainab were involved in research, teaching, and in extracurricular activities. It's now up to us to honor their memory by striving towards a more healthy, peaceful, and prosperous world.
I was just talking to her and she's like, oh, we're at the airport. And I said, are you leaving? And she said, yes. And I said, with your family? And she said, no, just Mohammed. And then she was talking about why humans are greedy and why we want war and the death of innocent people. she was someone that I expected to be in my life forever. She was someone, you know, I'm sorry, yeah. She was the person I expected to walk with, to see her in community, to see her become a doctor, to see her help folks who were struggling with mental health, to see her change the world in all the beautiful ways we talked about. So when I got that news, I knew
داداشون خوابش برد. یه بارون قشنگی داره میاد، بارون تابستونیا. جاتون خالیه. داداش خوابه.